How many of us can look up at a window washer dangling from a skyscraper and not feel a bit of a shiver of fright?
Oh, I know I'm right in there. In fact, American workers voted window washing the second scariest profession, following only bomb squad technicians. And in Minnesota, the work is especially deadly. Cost-cutting, safety shortcuts, and poor training. The Fox 9 investigators found it all in an industry that has gone largely unscrutinized. Here's Trish Van Pilsen with an investigation that took her up and over the wall.
31 floors up is the perfect place to start this story. This is Ameriprise headquarters, and I've learned the ideal place from which to descend to clean windows. See these evenly spaced permanent anchors strong enough to hold equipment and a human life. It's an unusual setup and a simple thing, or so it would seem, unless you've ever gone over the wall of a tall building, as I have. The center of the city shines only because there are a few who will brave any height.
There's some adrenaline
to keep it shining.
I enjoy the view.
And because their numbers are so few, maybe 100 window cleaners in the metro, you may not have heard.
Things have really gotten worse in the last few years.
The cry of outrage at what is happening to them.
When you look at like 100 people and 4 deaths in 4 years, it's an insane number. If you apply that to any other industry, it would just be a scandal.
We can come off of this side of the tower.
So now I'll go to any height to draw attention to it.
I'm going to be overseeing everything.
This is Jeff Scott.
There's no possible way anything's going to be able to happen.
He owns Green Window Cleaning in Madison, Wisconsin.
Around the top, that's repel.
And helps teach safety demonstrations for the International Window Cleaners Association. I get ready.
We don't want a hood in the way that could strangle you.
In a condo under construction.
So that makes the platform a secondary feature.
On the top floor of a 15-story building.
It's there for nothing but comfort.
He is not training me as he would train the cleaners who work for him.
This is your harness. It's your primary means of fall protection.
That would take months, even years, of lessons and testing.
Your backup connection point for your safety device. That's going to ride right here in the middle of your chest.
Rather, he's showing me what I need to know to go over the wall under his supervision so I can understand just how much is involved.
Right up over your head with this. All right, these are just going to pull forward.
I'd like to say I'm following
The rope will be up over the top.
everything he's telling me,
Fed back and forth through this.
but I'm not.
This will always stay connected.
I'm just too nervous.
Both going to connect this. And what that does is prevents you from getting over the wall.
And I also have the luxury of knowing no safety measure
Like so.
will be spared. But that luxury for 4 Minnesota men, and safety, it seems, had become just that, a luxury, is expensive. What with training and the equipment.
All right, you guys ready?
And when times are tough, sometimes that's what gets cut first. Did you feel pressure to work even if it wasn't safe?
Yeah, all the time.
These local window washers are describing work with a previous employer.
If you didn't do it, you wouldn't have work.
Yeah.
So, pay somebody else who would do it.
Our investigation found that time and again. So while I head to the roof in Madison,
I don't think he was trained enough.
let's take a closer look at the local accidents.
I think he just wanted to get in the chair like his big brother.
Julie Jennings feels lack of training killed her son in March of '09. Just 20 years old, Jake was cleaning windows on an office building in Bloomington.
It's the worst thing in the world. Because I'll never get over it.
His mom says Jake had been on the job with City Heights window cleaning about a year and a half, but had been scaling tall buildings just 6 months when the accident happened. Jake was wearing a safety harness, but the line attached to the building slipped off the anchor point. According to the OSHA report, the company did not have training records regarding fall protection, and training was, quote, on the job and provided to new employees by more experienced window washers. OSHA fined City Heights more than $51,000.
Can you just put these guys up there, and if they fall, you pay a big fine, and everything just goes away.
The Fox 9 investigators examined the OSHA reports for this and the 3 other fatal falls and found the deaths could have been prevented with more training and with proper use of safety equipment and procedures.
It's just an unspeakable loss.
December 2007, Fidel Sanchez Flores, a window washer with Columbia Building Services, was chipping icicles from the terraces of the IDS Tower. According to state records, he didn't have a safety line attached to the building and fell 50 feet to the floor inside of the IDS atrium. September 2009, the same year that Jennings died, another window washer died at Methodist Hospital in St. Louis Park, 24-year-old Brian Prairie. He was on the roof helping another cleaner when he tried to grab a rig that was supposed to be supporting the other man as it tumbled over the edge. He went over too. Investigators later found the weights that were supposed to hold the rig down leaning against the wall. OSHA slapped the window washing company with 4 serious safety violations. Then, just this past June, 25-year-old Ryan Shannon, working for the Squeegee Squad at an 8-story apartment building in St. Louis Park, fell to his death. Again, there were no permanent anchors on the buildings. According to state records, he descended from a rig that was improperly counterweighted. He didn't have an adequate backup safety line. Joe Antonello owns the Squeegee Squad franchise Ryan worked for.
Did you train that guy well enough to work in that building?
He says respect for the family keeps him from talking.
That was a sad thing.
This is Squeegee Squad's founding partner.
We actually follow the rules and we try to go above and beyond because it is important.
OSHA fined the Squeegee Squad $77,000 for safety violations after Ryan's death. But 6 weeks after that death, OSHA inspected them again. This time, OSHA, according to these records, found the Squeegee Squad failed to protect its workers from conditions, quote, that are likely to cause death or serious injury. The fine, more than $55,000. The company is contesting both fines.
You're going to be on that far rig over there.
Back in Madison.
Now, there's also another black line that you'll see that runs from an anchor up alongside your beam and stops at the wall.
There is so much safety equipment on the roof of this building that I, without training, can barely keep it straight.
Every time we get up to a rig, we look at the anchors.
I do know that everything and everybody that gets close to the edge is tied off to an anchor.
The knots, make sure everything's clipped off properly.
And is backed up with a safety line.
I don't know if I'm shaking because of the cold or because of what I'm going to do. No, I guess not.
I don't like to hire people that aren't afraid of heights. You should always have a healthy fear.
Well, I have a healthy fear.
The thing is, once you're there, you can go like this, and you're going to be just fine because everything's positive.
I probably won't.
They are also prepared to lower me down if I freeze up or rescue me if I panic.
How do you feel?
I feel good.
Run out?
I have to keep my eyes open.
You should.
Okay.
Just run right out to the edge. You're in full fall restraint.
Okay.
Okay?
Right. I'm a fixture. Good. Good spot. I am a part of the building now. I cannot fall, right?
Nope. You look at everything that's in place.
Everything is in place.
Come right up over the edge and sit in your chair. Going right into it.
Okay.
Except me.
Is this thing going to move?
Nope. You just scoot your butt out over the edge.
Am I on the chair, though, kind of, or not really?
Get your other leg down and you're in it.
But even secure in my 2 lines, it's as though my brain can't convince my foot to leave the roof. An internal tug-of-war 200 feet above a Madison sidewalk. But the really scary thing,
Bring that other foot back.
and we'll come back to my predicament in a minute, is the way some Minnesota window washers describe the safety culture here.
I'm amazed not more people have died.
And the training they got before they went over the wall.
It was some rigorous training.
They feel safe working now, but in the beginning, training consisted of
Tie some knots, learn not to tie off to like a roof antenna or something that's not going to hold 5,000 pounds. Common sense.
Did you get much training when you first started?
No. On-job training. Here's a building. Get over the side.
Fall protection is your seatbelt like you're driving in the car.
On a Friday in October, the International Window Cleaning Association came to town.
This is what's called a Type F system.
Armed with sobering stats and stories.
This is probably one of the windiest days in Washington, D.C. in a long time.
They came specifically to the Twin Cities because we've had so many deaths here.
You don't really have enough window cleaning companies to have that many accidents in that short of time.
More fatal accidents, in fact, since 2007 than any other state in the country, including Florida and California, where they wash windows all year.
You wear a harness, you have to attach it to a spot in the basket.
And yet, very few local companies showed up at the safety seminar.
I hope the companies that didn't come think they know all there is to know about safety for window cleaning because I know that they don't.
The Fox 9 investigators called several of the companies that didn't come.
Oh, this is already scary.
They said they either didn't know about it or were too busy.
Got it.
Too busy for safety?
There.
It seems inconceivable.
Welcome to my office.
To someone about to go over the wall.
It's hard work, but we've got the best view in town.
But once I'm over,
3 stories on up, it's all the same.
I'm comfortable enough.
The outcome's not going to change. You don't bounce.
To just.
But if we couldn't fall right now.
Sit and talk 160 feet up.
How did you do today? Yeah. Phenomenal.
Okay. Although I still have to get myself down.
The most dangerous part of my job, as we sit here and do this interview, is driving to work and going home. As long as everything's in place, everything here has a backup system.
Jeff Scott says he's turned down jobs because the buildings were just too dangerous to work on, only to have other companies take the work, something local companies say they've experienced too.
A lot of times it's money motivated, just to get the job. They got to stay busy, so they take the job even though they know there might be some issues there that they shouldn't be doing.
Consider what Minnesota OSHA found in the last 21 inspections it did of window washing crews. It wrote 14 citations, many for potentially deadly problems with safety equipment and training. The problem is OSHA didn't start doing those inspections until after the 3rd window washer had died.
Every 4 people that you're talking about have families that have to deal with this every day.
It's a question of the staff that we have, that right now we see that there's a need for that. That's why we're putting our emphasis on that.
There were so many violations that Minnesota OSHA has written new rules for window washing companies. But do those standards go far enough?
Again, in a perfect world, all window cleaners would have to be certified and business owners would have to be licensed.
That idea would become state law if the union representing half the window washers in the area has its way. The union is also calling for more training, which means someone like me, suddenly confident,
now feed it slowly,
but clearly not competent, would never be able to do this for real.
I would not suspect for a second that you had the training to go into this as a profession.
Right in the garden.
Nor would I allow you to go over the edge or even get near the edge without proper supervision.
Which is how it should be in real life, because safety should not be a luxury, and a life is too high a price to make the center of the city shine.
Could building owners do more to keep window washers safe? Well, they could install permanent anchors. It can cost tens of thousands of dollars to do that, but folks in the window washing industry point out that those owners can spend more than that on the art in their lobbies. I'm Trish Van Pilsen with the Fox 9 Investigators.